I'm Adam Anshel for Pro Football Weekly with a look at some of the most underhyped players in this year's draft, brought to you by Verizon Fios. I'm joined by our draft expert, Nolan Nawrocki. We've already looked at the most overhyped players, but Nolan, now some of the guys that maybe have flown under the radar. We start with a couple of running backs.
Yeah, DeLon Carter from Syracuse is one that I really like. He's got great power, very strong, runs low to the ground. He's built like a bowling ball, and I think he could work into being a workhorse back, the guy that can work inside and be a solid, productive pro. Another one is Derek Locke from Kentucky. I think he's got a lot of quickness, and he could fill a niche role as a returner as well. I think there's a chance he could be a solid third down, change of pace back, and he's a guy that's going to make a roster and contribute.
We saw that with Rod Stevens-Howling and the Cardinals, taken in the 7th round, found a pretty good role there despite not being the biggest guy. Now, some pass catchers also flying under the radar, so maybe haven't heard about him, but probably should have.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Harris from Eastern Carolina definitely stands out along those lines. Played in Conference USA, didn't receive a lot of attention during the season, but he's a very aggressive player, works the middle of the field very well, and he's a tough physical player. Has drawn some comparisons to more physical receivers, similar to Anquan Bolden in Arizona. Lance Kendricks is another receiver from Wisconsin. I think he's quietly had a very good season. He only will weigh 243 pounds, but you put on the tape and you see how he stands out. He really gets after it as a blocker. So I think he's a guy that can be development and all-around solid tight end.
We saw how important tight end was last year. New England Patriots drafted 2 of them, both played a big role, so Kendricks could see some value there. Now, along the offensive line, there's also another guy that maybe people haven't heard of.
Yeah, John Reed from UCF, I think, is a guy that's rising up boards. Could go as early as the 4th round. You know, he lacks ideal football strength. You see his knees crumble at times on tape, but he's a guy that plays with a good football temperament. He's aggressive and he really gets after it. I think he could become a solid NFL right tackle.
So those were 5 offensive guys. Give us one guy on defense.
Well, Ross Holman from Ohio State is a very productive player. You know, he's very small, and his size could hurt him on draft day, and could be a challenge to overcome in the NFL as well. But he's a guy that plays like a coach on the field, has great instincts, he's very tough. I think he'd be a great fit in a fast-flowing defense like the Colts or the Bucs.
It's strange to think of someone from a program as big as Ohio State that's always in the news may fly under the radar, but that is the case with Holman. That's a look at Nolan's most underpublicized players in this year's draft. For the best draft coverage around, make sure to follow us on Twitter or go to ProFootballWeekly.com.